Picture this scenario. Your paycheck just landed in your bank account, and within 15 seconds, your mind is already calculating possibilities. Maybe you are thinking about that gadget you have been eyeing, or wondering if you can finally splurge on dinner at that expensive restaurant downtown. Perhaps you are mentally adding up how many streaming services you can afford this month, or whether those sneakers in your online cart are finally within reach. But here is what most people do not realize. Those same 15 seconds could be the turning point between financial struggle and genuine wealth building. What if there was a simple system you could use every single payday that would automatically put you ahead of almost everyone when it comes to money management? By the way, my name is Tim, and I make these videos to help normal people finally understand how money really works. If money has always felt confusing or overwhelming, hit subscribe and stay with me, because my whole goal is to make this simple and calm so you can actually use it in your real life. Most people treat their income like some kind of unexpected windfall, rather than recognizing it for what it truly is: a powerful tool for creating financial security and independence. They get excited when money appears in their account, spend most of it on things they probably do not need, and then spend the following week surviving on instant meals while obsessively checking their bank balance. This cycle repeats month after month, year after year, leaving them perpetually confused about where all their money disappeared to. The reality is that average people have no real idea what happens to their earnings once they receive them. Sure, they know their rent gets paid somehow. Food appears in their refrigerator. Their various subscription services continue running without interruption. But beyond these basics, their financial lives resemble complete chaos. They are essentially sleepwalking through their money decisions, stumbling from one paycheck to the next while wondering why they never have anything substantial left over. Successful people operate completely differently. They do not leave their financial future to chance or impulse decisions. Instead, they follow a deliberate system that starts the moment their income arrives. This system is not complicated or flashy, and it will not make you famous on social media. But it works with remarkable consistency, and once you start using it, you will be amazed that you ever managed your finances any other way. The fundamental shift in thinking is understanding that your paycheck is not just money you earned for past work. It is your future financial freedom broken down into monthly pieces. Every dollar that enters your account is a building block. It can either contribute to your long-term wealth or vanish into the void of mindless consumption. The choice is yours, but the consequences of that choice compound over time in ways that most people never fully grasp. Here is where most people get their approach completely backwards. They pay all their fixed expenses first, then buy whatever catches their attention, and finally attempt to save whatever remains. And of course, there is never anything left. It is like trying to fill a container that has a hole in the bottom, then wondering why you cannot keep any water. The people who actually build substantial wealth reverse this entire process. They pay themselves first, they assign specific jobs to every dollar, and they make their money work just as hard as they do. This leads to a crucial realization. Financial success is not mainly about earning more money, even though higher income obviously helps. It is about using a system that works even at your current income level. Someone earning $50,000 per year who consistently saves and invests 10% will end up in better financial shape than someone earning $100,000 who spends every penny. The person with lower income but consistent habits will retire comfortably. The higher earner may find themselves working well into their 70s because they never learned how to manage money. First, you need complete clarity about where every dollar goes. Not a vague idea of your major bills, but precise knowledge of how your entire income gets allocated. The foundation of this system begins with something that sounds incredibly boring, but is absolutely critical for financial success. You must determine exactly what share of your income covers true necessities. When we talk about necessities, we are talking about expenses you cannot eliminate without affecting your basic survival and your ability to earn income. Housing costs like rent or mortgage payments. Food that actually nourishes you, not constant takeout and snacks. Essential transportation that gets you to work. Basic utilities that keep your home functional. Healthcare expenses that maintain your physical well-being. Notice what is not on this list. premium television packages, gym memberships you never use, subscriptions to countless streaming platforms. These might feel necessary when you are binge watching your favorite series, but they are not required for your survival or your success. Most people make a critical error here. They look at their expenses and quietly classify almost everything as a necessity. That expensive car payment becomes essential transportation in their minds. Daily coffee shop visits become a work requirement. Regular restaurant meals become a mental health need. But here is the reality check. If you are spending more than about 60% of your take-home income on genuine necessities, you may be living in a place that is too expensive for your current earnings, or you are rebranding luxuries as needs so you feel better about your spending. Imagine someone earning $75,000 per year. After taxes, they might take home around $4,750 per month. If their rent costs $1,800, their car payment is $400, and they spend $500 on essential food, their total necessity expenses reach about $2,700. That is roughly a little over half of their take-home income, which can be reasonable for someone in a higher cost area. Yet that same person might feel like they are barely surviving, especially if they are also paying for multiple streaming services, eating out several times a week, buying daily coffee, and making other small purchases that seem harmless on their own, but quietly add up to hundreds of dollars every month. The key insight is being brutally honest about what you actually need versus what you simply want. Your future financial freedom depends on your ability to make this distinction clearly and consistently. Once you understand your true necessity number, you know exactly how much money remains available for everything else. And everything else is where the real magic happens. This is where you move from surviving paycheck to actually building lasting wealth. Second, you need to stay current on all of your debt payments. Before you spend on anything fun or optional, you must protect your financial reputation. This is not about paying off all of your debt today, although that is a great long-term goal. This is about making sure you never fall behind on minimum payments, because late fees and damaged credit scores can quietly destroy your progress. Your credit score is like your financial reputation in our system. It affects almost every large financial decision you will make. It helps decide the interest rate you pay on a mortgage, whether you qualify for decent car loans, and sometimes even whether you can rent certain apartments or get certain jobs. Here is the part many people do not know. The difference between excellent credit and terrible credit can be just a few missed payments. If you make almost every payment on time, you look like a solid borrower. But if you start missing just a couple of payments, your score can drop sharply. In school, scoring 97% would earn you top marks. In the world of credit, that small gap between perfect and almost perfect can be the difference between low interest rates and painful ones. The system does not care about your feelings. It only cares whether you paid on time. So step 2 in this routine is simple. Always make at least the minimum payments on time every single month, no matter what. Third, you need a real emergency fund. This is the step most people ignore until it is too late. An emergency fund does not sound exciting. It will never trend on social media. But this boring little pile of cash might be the most important part of your whole plan. An emergency fund is exactly what it sounds like. Money set aside for when life decides to throw something at you out of nowhere. Your car breaks down the day before an important work meeting. Your laptop dies when you need it for a deadline. Your pet suddenly needs emergency surgery. These things do not check your bank balance before they happen. The goal is to build 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses in an account you can access immediately. Not invested in the stock market where it could drop right when you need it. Not locked away in a certificate of deposit you cannot touch for years. Just sitting in a simple savings account, ready to protect you when life gets messy. If someone's monthly necessities cost $2,700, then a 3-month emergency fund would be about $8,000 and a 6-month fund would be about $16,000. That might sound impossible if you are currently living paycheck to paycheck, but remember, you are not trying to reach that number overnight. You build it slowly, one payday at a time. Here is what almost nobody talks about with emergency funds. They are not just about money, they are about peace of mind. When you have several months of expenses sitting safely in savings, you sleep differently, you go to work differently. You know that if something goes wrong, you are not one bad month away from disaster. And you absolutely do not need your emergency fund to be clever. You do not want it chasing high returns. You want it to be simple, safe, and liquid. A government-insured high-yield savings account is perfect. You are not trying to get rich from this money. You are using it as a shock absorber. So your life and your investments do not get wrecked when something unexpected happens. Let me quickly summarize the routine so far. First, figure out what share of your income is going to true necessities. Second, stay current on every single debt payment so your financial reputation stays intact. Third, slowly build a real emergency fund in a simple savings account. These 3 steps keep you safe and give you breathing room. Everything after this is about building wealth faster. Fourth, you start investing for your future self, and this is where compound growth finally begins working for you instead of against you. If your employer offers a retirement plan with matching contributions, this should be your first investing priority. Think of employer matching like this. Every time you put money into that account, your boss adds extra money on top. It is the closest thing to free money most people will ever see, and yet millions of people leave it on the table. Imagine your company matches 3% of your salary and you earn $60,000 per year. If you contribute $1,800 to your retirement account, your employer also contributes $1,800. You have instantly doubled that part of your money. There are very few other places where you can get a 100% return just by following a simple rule. Beyond the match, a good long-term target is to invest around 10% of your gross income for retirement. That might sound like a lot, but remember, the earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow for you. Time in the market matters more than timing the market. Consider this. If someone starts investing $300 a month at age 25 and earns an average return of 8% per year, by age 65, they could have around $1 million. If they wait until age 35 to start investing the same amount, they might end up with less than half of that. Those 10 lost years can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Time is the secret ingredient in long-term investing, and every month you wait is a month you never get back. Most people overcomplicate this step so much that they never begin. They spend months trying to find the perfect strategy, the perfect fund, the perfect timing. In reality, for most people, a simple diversified index fund that tracks the overall stock market is more than enough. You do not need to pick individual stocks, you do not need to predict recessions, and you do not need to outsmart professional traders. You just need to start, keep going, and leave the money alone. Fifth, once investing for retirement is happening automatically, you attack the rest of your debt that is not your mortgage. This is the part that can feel emotional because debt often carries memories of past choices or tough seasons of life. There are 2 main ways to do this, and both can work. The Avalanche method means you list all your debts by interest rate and pay extra on the highest interest one first. That saves you the most money over time. The Snowball method means you list your debts by balance and pay off the smallest one first, even if the interest rate is lower. That one is less efficient on paper, but it gives you quick wins and a strong sense of progress. Personal finance is often more about behavior than pure math. If paying off a smaller debt first keeps you motivated and focused, that might be the right path for you, even if it costs a bit more in interest. The key is to choose one method, commit to it, and keep going until your non-mortgage debts are gone. Do not keep switching strategies, and do not ignore your balances hoping they will disappear. Sixth, after you have captured your employer match, built an emergency fund, and made real progress on your debts, you can expand into other retirement accounts and regular investment accounts. For many people, a Roth-style retirement account is especially attractive. You pay taxes on the money now, but all the growth inside the account is tax-free later. When you retire and take the money out, you do not owe taxes on those gains. It is like planting a tree today and keeping all of its fruit for the rest of your life. There are also regular investment accounts outside of retirement plans. These do not come with the same tax advantages, but they give you more flexibility. You can use them to invest for goals that happen before retirement, like buying a home, starting a business, or simply reaching financial independence earlier. The main idea is simple. Once the basics are in place, you want some of your money working for you in the background all the time, quietly growing while you live your life. Finally, you automate everything. This last step might be the most important one of all because it turns your good intentions into a system that actually runs without constant willpower. Willpower is like a battery. It runs down during the day. You might wake up on payday feeling motivated to save and invest, but by the time you get home from work, you are hungry, tired, and stressed. That is when impulse decisions win. You tell yourself you will move money to savings next week when you feel more disciplined, but next week looks a lot like this week. Automation removes that problem. When your money moves automatically according to your plan, you do not have to negotiate with yourself every time you get paid. Your savings and investments happen whether you feel motivated or not. Here's what that looks like in practice. Your paycheck lands in your checking account. You give it one day to settle. Then the next day, automatic transfers move money out according to your plan. A set amount moves to your emergency fund until it is fully built. A set amount goes to your retirement accounts. Another amount might go to a separate savings account for big future goals. Your bills are paid automatically on their due dates. Whatever remains in your main account is what you can safely spend. The beauty of this system is that you do not have to think about it every week. You design the system once, and then you simply adjust it when your life changes. The one mistake people make with automation is setting it once and never updating it. When they get a raise, they keep saving the same amount instead of increasing it. When they pay off a loan, they let that freed up money disappear into random spending instead of redirecting it into investments. So each time your income changes or a debt disappears, you adjust your automatic transfers to match your new reality. This paycheck routine is not rocket science, but it is powerful because so few people ever turn their money into a system. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to their finances instead of directing them. They wonder why they never have enough, but they never give every dollar a job. Your income is more than just payment for work you have already done. It is the raw material for the life you want to live in the future. Every dollar that passes through your hands is a tiny decision. Move closer to financial independence, or stay stuck in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. The choice is yours, but the impact of that choice grows larger with every year that passes. Start using this system with your very next paycheck. First, understand your real necessities. Second, stay current on your debts. Third, build an emergency fund. Fourth, grab every bit of employer match you can. Fifth, clear your remaining debts. Sixth, grow your investments. And finally, automate all of it so the plan runs even on days when you are tired. Your future self will look back and be grateful that you stopped treating payday like a random event and started treating it like what it really is, a scheduled opportunity to quietly build the life you actually want.